Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Have you ever known someone who's incredibly smart, but also, let's be honest, incredibly lazy? Maybe that someone is you. It's a funny combination, isn't it? Today we're diving into a story about a boy named Ryan who was the king of creative laziness. His story might just change how you think about motivation forever. In a small, sunny village lived a boy named Ryan. Now, Ryan, his mind was as sharp as a tack, but his ambition to do any kind of work was, well, non-existent. He was famous in the village, not for his intelligence, but for his legendary laziness. His parents would ask him to shoo the birds away from their precious crops, a simple enough task. But Ryan, oh, he had a better idea. Instead of getting up and running around, he devised an ingenious system. He tied a long string to a scarecrow and, from the comfort of his shady resting spot, he just tugged the string every now and then. The scarecrow would dance, the birds would fly away, and Ryan wouldn't have to move a muscle. His parents would sigh, half in exasperation, half in amusement. He was lazy, sure, but you couldn't deny he was clever. For a long time, life went on like this. Ryan perfected the art of doing the absolute minimum. He figured out the quickest route for errands, the easiest way to feed the chickens, and the most comfortable spot to nap through the afternoon heat. He saw physical effort as an unnecessary puzzle, and he was a master at finding the shortcut. His mind was always working, but only to figure out how to make his body work less. He believed he had life all figured out. But life, as it often does, had a different plan for him. One year, a dark cloud settled over Ryan's family. A harsh drought withered their crops, turning their once green fields into a dusty, brown wasteland. To make matters worse, his father, the strong pillar of their family, fell gravely ill. The doctors said he needed expensive medicine they simply couldn't afford with no crops to sell. Ryan watched his mother's worried face grow thinner each day and saw the strength fade from his father's eyes. For the first time, his laziness didn't feel clever. It felt heavy. He looked at his own hands, so used to avoiding work, and felt a deep, gnawing sense of uselessness. His clever tricks couldn't conjure rain or heal his father. The weight of his family's struggle pressed down on him, and he realized his comfortable, lazy world was crumbling. Just when despair was about to consume the village, a royal proclamation arrived. The king announced a grand competition open to all young men in the kingdom. The challenges would test wit, strength, and perseverance. And the prize? It was enough to make everyone gasp. A massive chest filled to the brim with gold coins. For most, it was a dream of riches. For Ryan, it was a single, blinding flash of hope. That chest of gold wasn't just treasure, it was medicine for his father, food for his family, and a chance to fix everything. A fire ignited within him, a powerful, roaring flame he'd never felt before. This wasn't about avoiding work anymore. This was about saving his family. The lazy boy was gone. In his place stood a young man with a powerful, unshakable motivation. The first day of the competition arrived. The first challenge was to cross a wide, deep lake. Dozens of eager young men stood at the water's edge. At the signal, most of them, strong and athletic, dove straight into the chilly water and began swimming with powerful strokes. But Ryan stood back, observing. He knew he wasn't the strongest swimmer. Competing with them in their element would be foolish. His mind, the very tool he once used for laziness, was now his greatest weapon. He scanned the shoreline, his eyes darting around. He spotted a fallen log, some sturdy vines, and a few flat pieces of wood left by lumberjacks. While others were struggling against the current, Ryan got to work. He quickly lashed the logs together with the vines, creating a crude but effective raft. He found a wide piece of bark to use as a paddle. He pushed his raft into the water, hopped on, and began to paddle with steady, efficient strokes. He wasn't the fastest, but he was conserving energy. He glided past swimmers who were growing tired, their powerful strokes slowing. He paddled with a rhythm born of desperation and focus. As he reached the other side, he was exhausted, but he had secured third place. The crowd, who had initially laughed at his strange contraption, now cheered in amazement. Ryan didn't care about the cheers. He only cared that he was one step closer to that chest of gold. The final round was a pure test of strength, or so it seemed. The last three contestants, including Ryan, stood before three identical, massive, square blocks of wood. The task was simple: move the block from one end of a field to the other. The first person to do so would win the competition and the gold. The other two finalists were huge, muscular men who had excelled in all the physical challenges. They looked at the block, then at Ryan, and smirked. They cracked their knuckles, took a deep breath, and began to push with all their might. The blocks barely budged. They grunted, strained, and their faces turned red, pushing the heavy, awkward squares inch by painful inch across the rough ground. Ryan, once again, didn't move. He just looked at the block, his mind racing. Pushing was pointless. He'd never outmuscle them. The problem wasn't the weight, it was the shape. The friction of the flat, square bottom against the earth was immense. An idea sparked in his mind. He pulled out the small, sharp knife he always carried for carving little trinkets. He walked over to his block, and to the confusion of the crowd and the judges, he didn't try to push it. He started to carve it. With focused, precise movements, he started chipping away at the sharp corners of the block. Shavings of wood fell to the ground as he worked tirelessly. He wasn't just chipping away, he was transforming the block. Slowly but surely, the square was becoming a circle. He was turning the impossibly heavy block into a giant wooden ball. Once he was satisfied with the shape, he stood up, took a deep breath, and gave the newly rounded block a gentle push. It started to roll, and it kept rolling. He jogged alongside it, guiding it with small taps, easily keeping it on course. The crowd erupted in a massive roar of disbelief and awe. He had turned an impossible test of strength into a simple matter of physics. Ryan rolled his wooden ball across the finish line while the other two contestants were still struggling, not even halfway there. He had won. When the king presented him with the chest of gold, Ryan didn't see the glittering coins. He saw his father's health returning. He saw the relief on his mother's face. He saw food back on their table. He had used the same intelligence he once used to avoid work to achieve the impossible. The story of Ryan teaches us a profound lesson. Sometimes, the people we label as lazy aren't lacking ability, they're lacking a reason. They might possess incredible intelligence, creativity, and problem-solving skills, all hidden beneath a surface of indifference. But when they find a motivation that is powerful enough, a cause that truly matters to them, like the love for their family, that dormant potential can erupt with unstoppable force.
Laziness isn't always a character flaw. Sometimes it's just a sign that you haven't found your why yet. So, what's your chest of gold? What's the one thing that would make you carve a square block into a circle? Thank you so much for watching today. If this story resonated with you, please hit that like button and subscribe for more content that makes you think. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Take care, and we'll see you in the next video.